Hi guys, it's Blackie. Okay, today we're going to talk about candling devices. That's a fancy way of saying how to light your camp. Now, I have been camping since I was very small. Okay, and I have seen all kinds of devices used for outdoor activities. I have seen carbide lamps. For those of you that are not familiar with carbide lamps, it is a chamber where a substance is put in, water is dripped into it. This produces a burnable gas, and it's a live flame on it. And miners wore them back in the day, and it went around your head. I remember carbide lights being used for coon hunting, catfishing at night, running trot lines at night, that type of deal. Usually in a camping situation, the campfire provides all the ambient light I need other than when I need to see focused light. So ambient light and focused light is what we're going to be dealing with here. A lot of people you'll see in a lot of the bushcraft videos, especially the ones out of Europe, which are very nice, have oil lanterns, and that's wonderful. It gives a firelight glow to a camp. It's very romantic, and it is a viable way to do it. Now, these are the kerosene lanterns. This one is one I used for many years in rendezvousing and living history. This is a ship's lantern. Okay, and what a ship's lantern is, I'll get you a better close-up picture. It's a big old brass lantern that had loops in it where a rope ran through here, and it was for sliding it up and down inside the hold of a ship. It was a weatherproof type deal, and then inside of it is a standard oil lamp. Now, these kerosene lamps, sometimes called hurricane lamps like this allowed me to carry something like this to the field. And this one actually has an additional holder on it where it could be hung up on a pole to put it inside of a tent. Okay. Now, these type of lanterns are very effective. They burn all night on one filling. Disadvantage, they are kind of sooty, and they do give off the kerosene burning smell. You should not use them in a tightly enclosed space. Now, let me clarify that. In a canvas wall tent, they're fine. In some sort of tent that is not sealed up, like a modern nylon tent that has a mesh with the outer tarp on it, you're fine. But anything that zips up tight, no, do not do it, because you can build up carbon monoxide in there. So you always want to be safe. Inside one of these camper shells is not a good idea, because the fumes build up, and if it's sealed up tight enough, you can, over the course of hours, build up that problem. So it needs an airflow around it. Okay, but for hanging in a camp for the all-night ambient light. Okay, I know many people don't like to sleep in the wilderness or in the woods without some sort of light. I call it the nightlight crowd, and that isn't to look down on them in any way. It's whatever makes you feel comfortable. Me, I'm actually more comfortable if there is no light at all. I mean, once I go to bed, I want the firelight to go out, and I want it dark, because then I'm just something else in the dark, and something's got to trip over me. You know, it can't see me. Ooh, look over there type deal. You always think of the boogeyman getting you. Well, to me, sitting here with a beacon is just letting everything else see you. So to me, I always wanted a dark camp, but not everybody is that way, and I understand it. So ambient light, usually it's campfire. If it's a hot summer and I just don't want to build a fire, then that's when something like this comes in, and this is hung up in camp for lighting. Especially if you're using a camp stove for your cooking and you're not going to have a campfire, then some sort of light. Now, these step up would be the Coleman type lanterns. Now, I should have brought mine out, but I didn't. I'll be covering that in a future video where I will talk about my vintage Coleman lanterns. Either the propane or the gas ones that you put liquid fuel into. Both are really good lanterns, and they cast a great deal of light. And if you're doing nighttime activities, that's when those lanterns really shine, because they produce a great deal of light, and they are very reliable. They are noisy. They produce a lot of heat, so you can't put it inside a shelter. It'll just fill it full of fumes and heat it up. So you've got to have it out, okay, in open air. So what about something for use inside of a tent or whatever. Well, that's when you come into the battery-powered stuff. Now, what I use, and you've seen this type of lantern a lot, and there is a difference in them. This one was made by the Vaunt Corporation, and I got these a couple of years ago now. And they are a lot brighter than a regular one like you pick up at Walmart, the number of LEDs and etc. It runs off of three double A's in the bottom, and then up here in the top, this top unscrews where you can put 3 additional batteries into it if you want to for battery storage. Now the run time for this lantern is listed at 30 hours, and I believe it. I have run this lantern all night for 2 nights in a row and on one set of batteries. Since on average, whenever you're using it without power or something like that, you're going to, stay up 5 or 6 hours tops, and then you're going to go to bed because ain't nothing to do. TV's out or whatever at the house. You're going to want this. And camping, same thing. If you've been busy all day and you've got a campfire, this is just an ambient light around the tents, and we're over here at the campfire or something, right? So one set of batteries is easily going to handle a weekend camp out. If I'm going on a much longer camp out, and I can serve this to about 5 hours a night. Sundown plus 5 hours. Well, in the winter, that's, say, 5 o'clock, I would need it. 5 hours till 10 o'clock at night about the time I go to bed. So 30 hours, 6 days, and then there's another set of batteries. So I'm carrying 60 hours worth of light for something that's about £1 pound. I got a pair of these off Amazon for $21, and so I've got one, and Mrs. Blackie's got one. This is my ambient light that I use to light the whole thing. Now, I'm not saying this is the only thing to get. I'm not hyping that, but I'm just saying there are certain things like this. With the battery powered lights, and this is where you're going to get into a little bit of a misnomer. Look on the package. They're supposed to say how bright it is, how long is the run time on a given set of batteries on average. Now you're going to see lanterns sitting out there, and man, that thing's 1,000 looms. It's bright as all get out. It runs 2 hours. This one runs with extra battery 60 hours. How much light do you need? Now we get back to that question. There is focus light and ambient light. If I just simply need enough light in a camp to be able to see to walk around and not trip over the guide wires and etc., ambient light is more than enough. I think this one's like 400 looms, which is more than enough to see. And once your eyes adjust to the night, you'd be amazed how bright that is. Coming out of a modern house, no, it's not that bright. Stay out there 30 minutes and then turn it on and see how bright it is. Our eyes adjust to night vision, okay? And so then it's plenty bright enough. Even something as low as 100 looms is fine for going back and forth to the outhouse. I can see right around me, and it doesn't, oh my God, Too much looms robs you of your night vision totally. I have a good friend of mine that he's one of those, he's got to have the burn blind and deafen, the biggest and brightest, and he's got a 1200 loom flashlight. Okay. He turns the thing on. One, yes, you can see a half-mile at you on her. Disadvantage, the lens actually gets so hot, if you put it against your hand, you're going to burn yourself. So now you can't turn it off and lay it down on a pack or on a nylon tent or something. It might melt it. So now you got to cool off your flashlight before you lay it down. Another disadvantage to it is the minute you turn that on, it is so intensely bright. Any night vision you had is gone instantaneously. And so you can't see anything except what's in that light. So when you turn the light out, all you see is a glowing orb like you looked at the sun. And so now for 30 or 40 minutes, you're stone cold blind out there. So there is too much looms. Now for me, my recommendation is something for just to go back and forth here and there. 100, 200, 300 looms is fine. long run time is what you're looking for. Remember, on the package it's going to say how strong it is, how long it runs. I want the longest run time possible so that I don't have to constantly keep changing batteries or recharging it. Now, in the past, rechargeable lights were a big advantage. Today that is not necessarily the case, because when you look at how long the run time is on it, and it runs 2 hours. Remember that when I said it was 1100 looms? It's a rechargeable. Well, it takes 2 hours to charge it, and then it runs for a grand total of 2 hours and 15 minutes. And it'll be fading that last hour significantly, probably down to 100 looms when it gets down to that last time. Sorry for the gunfire, guys. I'm behind the shooting range again, the place I like to go and shoot my videos. So it has such a long charge time versus actual run time. Now, advantage to at the house for when the power goes out, rechargeable is great. I just plug it back in the wall once the power comes back on. Disadvantage in the field, a rechargeable doesn't have a way you can change out batteries. It's built in. And so when it's dead, your only choice is to get to some way to charge it. There's nothing you can do. With something that takes batteries and has a long run time like this one, 30 hours, all I got to do is drop those batteries out and pop in another set of batteries. I got another 30 hours. It's much easier to carry an extra set of batteries up here in the lid. So on board I got 60 hours of light, as opposed to something that's going to be bright as all get out, but has a very long charge time and no way to utilize it otherwise. You could also get rechargeable batteries. Now, for those guys in the prepping long term, they make solar powered battery chargers that are not unwieldy. Something about like this, that you can get online and you lock A, AA, AAA, D size batteries into it. They have multiple battery slots. So I could put that out on the dashboard of my truck or on top of my pack if I'm doing a long wilderness trip or something during the day while I'm in camp, and be charging up batteries, see, and get a lot longer duration off of a set of rechargeable batteries. That can be a distinct advantage in lighting a camp in a long expedition type setting. For the average person that's just going to go out and do a weekend 2, 3, 4 day camp, a couple of sets of batteries, good enough with a high volume battery. Now, focus light, let's get back to that. We've established what the ambient light. Focus light, I need to be able to see right here. Now, I like to take a headband light, but I put it around my neck, aiming down, rather than putting it on my head. 2 reasons. One, putting it on the hat is kind of awkward. If I hang it around my neck, it's aiming at the ground. Now it's not hooked to my neck. I'm lighting up my area right here, or this workstation where I'm eating, cooking, prepping, whatever. Okay. But at the same time, when you say something, I turn and look at you, I'm not blinding you. If I hear something over there, it's nothing to take the light and just aim it. And then let go and let it center back up. I wear a necklace that a lot of you have commented on my necklace, and I often will take the headband off, and the hooks that hook the headband I'll simply hook to my necklace so it's aiming straight down. Again, I'm looking for about 200 to 300 looms, and I'm looking for as long a duration as I can get on a set of batteries. And if it has a red lens, even better, because if I'm going to be hunting and I'm going to be leaving a camp, walking to my deer stand to hunt, because we're doing this as a hunting camp, I'm absolutely going to want a red lens, because red does not affect your night vision. So when you're coming out of total darkness and your eyes have had time to adjust, and you turn on a red lens light, you can see 10, 12 yards in front of you. That's all I need. I know where I'm going, right? So I'm just guiding myself. And on a hunting point, they make these reflectors that are thumbtacks that I can mark on trees to my stand down to the woods to make sure I don't get disoriented if it's a very dense area. Just shining that up. At the same time, that red light does not offend game as much. And if I have deer in the area, I'm not as likely to spook them as shining an 1100 lumen flashlight out there. It looks like a landing light on an aircraft. So you can have a very focused light, okay, I like to wear the neck light. There are also other options in that. Now, I have carried in the past, in my haversack I have carried this little cheap light, which is a pen light flashlight, but also when you pull it, it becomes like a little area effect light. And it had this clip on it where I could hang it onto the ridge line in my hammock. This was very handy when I'm getting up in the night. I could simply reach up with that pull down, go click, and it illuminates the area. Oh, probably 150, 200 lumens max. More than enough for me to see and get up, not be blinded with it. If I'm getting ready to go hunting, or I'm getting up to start the camp meal for the day, for the rest of the camp, or I'm playing cook, or whatever. Or if I've just simply got to go answer nature's call, this is easy to take and focus, something small and light. Now on my person I carry that old light torch that I've talked about a couple of times that's rechargeable. And a lot of people dislike any kind of light you bring up. For many years I used small mag lights. In fact, mag light back during the 70s, 80s, and 90s, that was the light to have. That's what all the law enforcement used. Disadvantage, the bulbs we had them back in them days, one good whack and the bulb broke. And so you dropped it, you ain't got no light, so it had to carry a spare bulb on board. And I have, in pitch black darkness, had to change out a light bulb before. So they were tough and durable, and at the same time they could be kind of fragile. Now today they make an LED version, and maybe that's something that you'll go with. I'm not trying to promote any given one, really I'm not. I'm just saying that there are options out there, and that you need to focus on what is my need. Do I want a great big area effect and we're going to be fishing all night doing catfishing? Well, then something like a Coleman lantern, propane or gas, is a great idea. Or one of the big battery powered ones that has that kind of duration. If it has an 8-hour run time and then I can recharge it, that may be a good option. It's just what you think you're going to need. So at a camp, maybe an oil lantern as a ambiance more than anything. Being able to hang it up on the corner out there near my tent and light up an area with candlelight. Very nostalgia, works just fine for that. Just understand. Let me come back to these kerosene for a second. The kerosene lanterns that you see with the lift up and the globe, the old, we used to call them railroad lanterns or hurricane lanterns, is a pot that the oil goes into, and then it's open on the top. There's a cap that sits over that with a wick in it. If you turn the lantern sideways, the oil runs out. So you must be aware of that. If you tip it over, you're going to put kerosene all over everything. Most of them are designed so if you tip it over, the flame goes out almost instantly. It smothers it. Most of them. But you are having an open flame and a fuel source. So if you bang into it and slosh fuel everywhere, you may have a fire. That is something you have to be aware of when you're using these old type lanterns. That was the reason these big old ship's lanterns were made this way. So if they were banging around in a hole, if they actually banged into something, it would be contained inside this glass container, this brass and glass container, and keep it from spreading a fire in the hold. It was something that I could leave. When I got a hold of one of these, you could sit it out in the rainstorm and it would never go out because it couldn't blow it out. See? And yet it was something I could carry inside those big canvas wall tents we used in living history. I want an ambient light that lights up the area. For me, that's this. I need a focus light to see right here. I carry this in my pocket all the time, and this has got a clip where I can clip it to a cap or I can clip it to my chain so it's aiming straight down. I also quite often will carry my headlamp in my camping kit for that, like I said, to hang around my neck or to see to go down trails and things like that. Redundancy is the secret. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, because if you get out there and you were counting on this and then that light for whatever reason doesn't work, I don't care what it is. Many years ago we were going on a hunt into an area, and we had driven 5 hours to get up in them mountains in North Alabama of a family member. And so we had got to a trailhead, got out of the car, walked about 5 miles, 6 miles in the dark, using lanterns to guide ourselves in. Got the camp set up and everything, and it's probably 1 a.m. We're going to be getting up at 4 to go hunting. And at 4 a.m. when we got up, I was the only one that had a lantern that worked. Everybody else had let their lanterns run out of fuel, and then they didn't have any more fuel, or they had ran their battery-powered lanterns all night and they were completely out. So when we got up at 4, I was the only one with light. And now they're going to have to navigate, like one guy had to walk nearly 2 miles down into where his deer area, hunting area was going to be. There's no way he's going to do that in the dark. Now he's got to wait the sun up. And it was all because they didn't think and plan for that. So, it is something you need to be aware of. I'm sorry if this is long-winded, guys, but it's one of the things we don't think of when we're talking about going camping or hunting or whatever. The light. Plus the fact of having light in your bug out bag, in your vehicle, etc. I carry a mag light, one of the old 2D cell mag lights with an LED bulb in it in the vehicle, so I can turn it on. You can pound nails with that thing. It's tough, it's reliable, and I've got light on the side of the road to look and repair if I've got a problem I need to work on. On my bug out bag, I have lights. In my camping gear, I have lights. In my haversack, I have lights. In my pocket, I've got a light. Redundancy, so that no matter what, I've got a fallback. Because being out there and having no source of light, you're stuck till sunup. Hope this gives you some ideas, guys. Thank you very much for supporting my channel. And please leave any comments below, any questions. I'll be happy to respond to you and see what we can do to help out any questions you have. Okay, guys, thank you very much for watching my channel. Please do me a favor and if you've enjoyed this video, hit that like button for me. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. And also, if you have any questions for future videos or something you'd like an answer to that come up to you when we did this video, please put it down in the comments. I'll be happy to respond to you. Till next time, guys, I'm Blackie, wishing you safe journeys. Have a great day, guys.